Hello guys, on the 21 episode now we will talk about layers. The first one, it will be layer properties. By the way, I open it like that, layer properties from this layers panel. But if you want the abbreviation, it will be LA, enter. Once you hit it, you will be opening all of that. By the way, I have to say something about how you see the abbreviation or the autocomplete feature. You need to open something called the dynamic input. The dynamic input, you have to go to the customization panel, what we call it the burger icon, and you have to open the dynamic input. The dynamic input, once you open it, it will be like that. Once you hit it, if it is off, you can see that when I type L, it will be type L enter in the command line, okay? But once it is on, once it had been on like that, and the abbreviation of it F12, okay guys, you can see that once I hit escape L enter, it will be beside the cursor of the mouse. So this is important information that we need to be aware of it. Okay, now the abbreviation of layers, it will be LA enter. Now you can see it because the dynamic input here, they are activated. So LA enter. Now we use LA enter. Once we have opening it, we have to cancel the two layers. These two layers, they are not deletable at all. The first one called the cancel sheet, layer that you can draw on it everything that you want. Once you use or hit the line order, you can see that, for example, here I will go to the drop down menu and start to draw down line. Now we can draw any line that we are wanting to draw on it. Okay, that's it for that part. But if we put a dimension, any kind of a dimension like that, linear dimension, and I started to align the dimension for much better convenient way. So align the dimension, you can put the dimension here and you can see all the dimensions in the right way. Then another one, it will be created called depth points. These depth points layer, it's related to the points that you read the dimension by it. Okay, the start point and the end point of the dimensions, there's a small points that you can't see. They're related to the dimension as itself. Okay, these depth points, these small dots, if you can see it there, this called the depth points. That's why it had been created. No one can delete both of these deletable layer. Okay, they are not deletable, by the way. Okay, whether it is the zero cancel sheet or the depth point one. But I can create another one, a new layer, and the abbreviation for creating a new layer, it will be Alt N. Okay, then I will use, for example, walls. Okay, and I'll make the color, for example, cyan. By the way, if you can see, there is a small icon here. If it is a red, by a sign of a red color, it means it's not printable. You can see it, but it's not printable. But you have to be activating it like it is printable. So it is printable now. This layer, it is printable, and the color of it, I will choose one of the 6 colors here. So it will be the cyan color. So, and it will be continuous line, and I need to make a line weight. So the line weight, I will choose a specific line weight. For example, something that it is very thick, like 0.35. Okay, then I'll hit OK. Once I hit that, I will make a new layer and we'll call it axis. And axis, it will be another thing with what's happening here, that the last layer take the same properties from the earlier layer. Okay, and what had happened here, that we need to change these properties. So the cyan, I will start to make it like a yellow color. Okay, and then I will make the line not the line weight, I will make it much lighter. I will weight the weight of it much lighter, and the continuous line, I will make it dash dot. How can I get these dash dots? I have to load it from down there, and I have to go to the dash dot or border dash dot here, border 5x. Once I choose it, I can choose the layer dash dot or dash dot what I want it, and then I choose it. This is, it changes the line type from continuous to dash dot. So now I have 2 layers. One of them, the activated one, it will be now the cancel that I draw on it. Okay, there is axis, there is walls, and this point just for dimensions, it will not use it at all. It will be created by default when you create dimension. Okay, let's delete all of that. Delete, and let's focus now what can we do by these layers? First of all, I will write down, I will draw now a line, but I have to activate the layer that I wanted to use it. For the first time, I will use the walls. So I'll enter, then I will use the walls. What had happened here in front of your eyes, that the layer is with a thickness. How come that you see the thickness? Because it is shown by the display on of the show and height. Can you see the show and height of the line weight? If you can't see this, you go to the customization panel and you have to check on the line weight. Can you see it? Check on and off of the line weight. Once it is on, you can you display the line weight on. This is how you can see that the walls was having a line weight in a specific way. Let's go now to the axis. I will draw and enter a line, and now we can see that this line is very big with dash dot. Okay, the dash is very long. I need to make it more smaller. So LTS, the abbreviation of line type scale, I need to use it, and this is a general way of using line type scale. And then hit enter. It is now 2. It is maximum. I will make it 0.5, for example. Let's see it. The dash dot it converted to be much more smaller. So that's it for this part. Now we understand how the difference between a line with a thickness and the line with a lighter thickness, and it is very dash dot or not continuous type of a line. Okay, so what I wanted to emphasize here about these types, that layers, they are very intelligent type of a system, that everything that you draw, it will be on a layer. This will be a layer of axis, will be a layer for walls, a layer for columns, layers for furniture, layers for hatches, layers for whatever you are in need of. So this is a very intelligent way. And the normal thing that you have to be aware of it, that you can toggle them on and off. What I mean about that, I will stand now on the layer of the cancel, and we started to turn on and off the layer of the walls. Can you see it now? It is on and off, on and off. I can turn on and off the layer of the axis. So I can print the layer of the walls without axis, or I can print the layer of the axis without the walls. This is the game here. So this is the first part. The second part, you can see here what we call this freeze and thaw. Freeze, you can freeze the layer of the walls, and if you freeze it, you can see they are doing the same meaning or the same function here. No, they don't do the same function, but the first thing, this will be removed from the memory of the program, and this is and make the memory of the program more lighter. That's why it's better to use the freeze order when you're using a big project. When you are in a big project, it's much better to use such a thing. Okay, and the last thing, it calls the lock button, or the lock order, or the lock function. The lock function, I will make a lock for this layer of the walls. Once I make a selection or highlight selection, I can select it. Okay, you can't do anything. You can see it is locked. There is a lock sign. It means that you can't select it at all. It is just, you can select whatever you want, but it's not selectable like that. So this is much better way to think about it. Once I hit that, I can move this, but this is now, it is locked. I can't move it or change the location of it. It's easy when you are trying to determine a better selection. That's why you can see it, but you can't select it at the same time. Not selectable. Okay. So this is the 3 types of icons, and you can see them inside the layer properties as itself. This is on, this is freeze, this is lock. That's it, guys. I hope you liked this type of explanation.